They found footprints, leading right up to the cliff's edge. But none came back. A rescue team baffled by a trail that vanished into thin air. It was the early days of fall in 2024, the forest alive with the fiery reds and golds of changing leaves. The Ridgeview National Forest was a sprawling wilderness, a rugged palette of dense pines, steep ridges, and chasms that carved the land like ancient scars. It was a place where adventurers and hikers came seeking beauty, and sometimes tragedy. Among them was Emma Harding, 32, an experienced hiker with a fierce love for solitude in the mountains. She'd planned a solo weekend trek across the rarely traveled Eagle's Crest Trail, a narrow path winding along the cliffs that overlooked the roaring River Griffin, hundreds of feet below. Her family knew the route. Her closest friend had the coordinates on her phone. But when Emma failed to check back in on Sunday evening, alarm bells rang loud and clear. By Monday morning, the Ridgeview Search and Rescue Team assembled in their rustic base camp, a collection of tents and four-wheel drives parked under the amber canopy. Captain David Ellis, a veteran of a dozen search operations, many hauntingly futile, stood quietly reviewing maps with his lead tracker, Maria Lopez. Reports circulated. The last known GPS ping was near Eagle's Crest Ridge around noon Sunday. They knew the terrain was unforgiving. One wrong step could mean a plunge to death on the jagged rocks below. But the forest had more puzzles than danger. The team's scent dogs gave up trails in thick undergrowth, and no campfire or gear was found at her last campsite. Then, just before dusk, in a remote clearing near the edge, Maria spotted something chilling. The trail was unmistakable. Wet earth imprinted with the worn tread of Emma's hiking boots. The path led straight toward the eastern cliff's edge, where the forest gave way to a dizzying drop. The prince stopped abruptly at the precipice. No sign of turning back. Nothing. As if someone had simply vanished into thin air. Captain Ellis ordered immediate precautions. The cliff face was slippery from recent rains, and thick fog was rolling in. The team rigged rope harnesses and anchors as they prepared to descend the rocky slope to check for any sign of a fall or a survivor. But as night sank into the valley, and the cold seeped in, the mystery deepened. No voices called out, no movement was seen, and the trail of footprints, moving only one way, held its dark secret tight. As the fog thickened, an anonymous tip came in from a hiker passing nearby. They reported a faint whimpering sound near a spot halfway down the cliff face, in a cavernous overhang rarely visible from the top. The team lowered their ropes and began a precarious descent. At the cavern, all they found was a small patch of disturbed dirt and a hastily scratched message into the rock, "Help me." The message reignited hope and fear. Was Emma trapped, watching rescuers from a secret refuge? Or was it a cruel prank by someone else? Search patterns intensified, but each lead waned into dead ends. The cliff seemed to hold its secret fiercely. Weeks later, news of Emma's disappearance spread far beyond Ridgeview. Social media posts speculated wildly. Some posited animal abduction, others whispered of a secret cult. Some doubted if Emma had ever reached the cliff at all. Yet, through it all, Captain Ellis remained steadfast. He shared with reporters a sobering truth from his years in the field.
Nature doesn't owe us answers. Sometimes people go missing because of a moment's misstep, a lapse in time, or the sheer randomness of the wild.
Just before the search was scaled back, the team uncovered something that added another layer to the mystery. A hidden trail, almost invisible, that veered away from the cliff at the last moment. It was narrow and overgrown, suggesting Emma had taken it deliberately. Why, then, had no footprints been found returning on the main trail? Days turned into months without resolution. Emma's disappearance became one of many unresolved cases in vast wildernesses worldwide, a haunting reminder of how small humans are against the backdrop of nature's enormity. Months after the search scaled down, the case of Emma Harding settled into a chilling quiet, until an unexpected discovery stirred new hope. A hiker, exploring the thick underbrush on the far side of Eagle's Crest Ridge, stumbled onto a shallow cave hidden by fallen trees. Inside, among scattered remnants of what looked like a makeshift camp, was a small journal, damp but intact. The last entry, dated the day Emma disappeared, was scrawled in hurried handwriting.
"I'm sorry, I can't explain. It's something I never imagined. I'm safe for now, but who will find me?"
The journal's vague words sparked a fresh influx of volunteers and investigators willing to comb the rugged terrain again. Captain Ellis, now weary but resolute, assembled his team for one final attempt. This time, they focused on the hidden trail beneath the cliff, the one missed in their initial frantic search. The trail descended steeply into a narrow fissure between rocks, cloaked in thick vines. Beneath, they found pockets of disturbed earth and remnants of recent fire. Emma had somehow survived, carving refuge from nature's cruel edge. But what of the footprints that never returned? The answer emerged in a grim revelation. Near the cave's mouth lay an old steel cable and pulley system, remnants of a century-old mining operation. Long abandoned and forgotten by local records, it created a precarious natural bridge behind the cliff face. An almost invisible escape route, hidden from the top view. Emma had found this hidden exit, explaining the missing return prints. But the makeshift bridge had collapsed days after she crossed, severing her only way back to the trail. Trapped between the sheer cliff and the dense forest below, her survival had become a desperate battle against isolation, hunger, and the elements. The rescue team rigged new ropes and descended cautiously, finally reaching Emma alive but frail. With her clothes torn and face etched with exhaustion and relief, she had survived nearly 3 weeks alone, sustained by rainwater and scarce forest edibles, clinging to the hope that someone would find her footprints. Her story quickly went viral, shared worldwide as a tale of endurance and the enigma of nature's cruel puzzles. Emma Harding's survival became a beacon of hope and caution. Medically weak but mentally unbroken, she underwent long rehabilitation, haunted by the trauma of isolation and the unanswered questions of her experience. Her story sparked conversations about wilderness safety, the unpredictability of nature, and the profound resilience of the human spirit in the face of darkness. As Emma reflected years later, sometimes the greatest mystery isn't the disappearances or trails that vanish, but the will within to keep walking, no matter how far. Her story forces us to question, how little do we truly control in the wild world? And how much strength do we gain when facing what seems impossible? Don't forget to subscribe to Real Mystery Reports for more strange, dark, and profoundly human stories. New true mysteries every day.